ahead.
Area near Jerusalem, as Fox News is reporting, at least 8 people were killed after Iran sent a missile strike near this area in Jerusalem. We do see crews continuing to go through the debris, and we did see alive as they recovered yet another body found in this rubble. This comes as Israel launched massive strikes that rocked Iran's capital of Tehran earlier this morning. Iran simultaneously launching multiple projectiles towards Israel. And Israeli officials have told Fox News that more than 40 top Iranian security and regime figures were eliminated in the opening strikes, and as many as 10 high-ranking leaders were killed in the initial strike on the Supreme Leader's fortified compound. The Supreme Leader, 86 years old, he was killed along with his daughter-in-law and son-in-law as well. And following Saturday's daytime attacks, Iran launched multiple retaliatory strikes at targets across nearly a dozen countries in the Middle East, including the headquarters of the U.S. Navy Fifth Fleet in Bahrain. No American casualties were reported, but at least 6 people were killed by the Iranian strikes. We are continuing to follow this as U.S. embassies and consulates across the Middle East instructed employees to shelter in place for a second day today as joint U.S.-Israel military strikes in Iran continue. and Iran launches missiles and drone strikes in retaliation. To speak more on this, I do want to bring in U.S. Navy veteran and former Florida Speaker of the House, Paul Renner, to talk more on this. And Paul, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox.
Great to be with you.
So I do want to talk about the retaliation that we are continuing to see at this hour. Fox News reporting at least 8 people have died in a missile strike that Iran sent near Jerusalem. And right now we're taking a look at activity that we saw in Iran from earlier today in terms of the security angle as this retaliation continues. From your perspective, what is at the forefront?
Well, for success, you would look for that to degrade and cease in the near future. You have to say the first 24 hours was an amazing success. You listed off the stats, 10 top leaders, 40 what we call high value targets that is part of that regime change goal from yesterday. So the first 24 hours, 30 hours, I guess we're into now, has been very, very successful. But the fact that Iran is still responding means that there's still a command and control system. And so we're very much still in a situation where we have to continue pressing forward on the offense and destroy that ability to, one, defend themselves as we attack targets in Iran, and two, their ability to respond and retaliate. Although I would say the retaliation has worked against them because they're attacking other Gulf state nations that are responding and saying Iran's got to go. They're the bully in the block.
And President Trump taking to Truth Social, warning Iran against retaliation. He also shared in his initial statements, as we learned that the supreme leader was killed, among others, that this operation could be one of days and possibly weeks. From that standpoint, what are the next steps with the United States and also Israel?
Well, yes, I think there's a very active conversation happening with people. You mentioned the people who had been killed in the attack, but with the others, there's many, many high-value targets, people in leadership that have been identified over months and even years that we know who's in place there. And those conversations are likely taking place. Do you want to stay on that list and die, or do you want to come on board for a new Iran that is friendly to its neighbors, friendly to the United States? And so that is a very important diplomatic effort and military effort that's happening in secret right now, not in the public view, but is happening to determine who's going to say hands up and we're going to come over and be part of a new Iran.
And Paul, I did want to talk about this because, taking a step back, this was a very complex and well thought out mission between the United States and Israel. Can you walk us through the process leading up to this attack?
Well, it means months, if not years. I mean, there's an ongoing intelligence process. As a former intelligence officer, and in the days and weeks leading up, you're starting to narrow down, if you're looking for those high value targets, where they go, their pattern of life, where they might sleep, where they might work. And I think it's significant, and I don't have any inside information, so I'm not sharing any, but the fact that it was a daytime attack, which is unusual and riskier for those that are in the planes that are making that attack, is probably indicative of the fact that they had places to hide at night where they thought the attack would come, or when they thought the attack would come, and they were less on guard during the day. And so that daytime attack, I suspect, was when we saw a window of time where we had the best opportunity to decapitate the evil regime that has been occupying Iran for 47 years.
And this is slightly different. President Trump had talked about hoping to use, diplomatic channels. Those did not go anywhere because Iran refused to come to the negotiating table, in tangent with the ongoing developments of this mission that the public was not yet aware of. Can you talk about the significance of the timing of this mission?
Well, it's essentially years long, decades long, going back to Obama. And I think that approach and Biden's approach was exactly wrong. Giving them money and giving them an ability and a leash to develop nuclear weapons was a horrible mistake and could have really cost us dearly. That's why we needed Midnight Hammer. But after Midnight Hammer, there was obviously an opportunity for the Iranians to find a diplomatic solution. We had proven that this president is willing to go in and make the necessary steps and military steps to stop a nuclear Iran. He's been crystal clear about that. they refused to accede to that and refused to have that conversation. And so he came to a point, and I think realistically, that this regime would never stop pursuing nuclear weapons. And that is a very, very dangerous place, a very dangerous world with a nuclear armed Iran with this regime in place. And so the president simply realized that it was time to move. The intelligence and military folks were giving him those options and those windows when it would be optimal to actually make the strike. And he pulled the trigger and gave the go-ahead, and it's been going very, very well. Our military is so talented, but that's really a sign that he realized that there was never going to be a diplomatic solution, and now we have the situation we have today.
And right now we're taking a live look at a scene where crews in Jerusalem are combing through some rubble after at least 8 people were killed after Iran sent a missile there striking. I did want to share with you and our viewers this new statement saying, quote, since the beginning of Operation Roaring Lion, the Iranian regime has been targeting civilians. We now know this is their strategy. In their recent attack, they killed many civilians in this community. The Iranian regime is a terror regime. I send my deepest condolences to the families. We will continue to do everything we can to remove these capabilities from this bloodthirsty terror regime. And that is someone from the Israeli army right there as we continue to take a live look. You know, we're hearing responses such as this. When we hear those words of a terror regime, of, you know, a regime targeting civilians, what are the continuing concerns in the coming days, as likely there will be more strikes potentially on civilians?
Well, you can be sure that our military and the Israelis and anyone participating is trying to disable Iran's ability to make those strikes. That's got to be job one, as well as shutting off their air defenses, which I think has happened. And so that will happen over the next several days and continue to happen. As I said at the outset, once you see those counterattacks subside, we will know that their military's ability to counterstrike has been removed, their command and control has been removed. And then it's a question of who in the leadership, who in the civil government wants to be part of a new Iran and who still wants to be on that high-value kill list.
And let's talk about that. President Trump was urging the people of Iran, saying, this is your time, you know, step up and take over. When it comes to the boots on the ground in Iran and, you know, maybe the civilians, you know, stepping up, what do you see happening in that area? Because I have to imagine the followers of the supreme leader do not want that.
Well, and this is where it becomes very difficult because the people who are in the country are different than those in the diaspora, those around the world who are former leadership. Now, it's a long time, been a long time, 47 years. There's not a lot of people that were in the old Iran, but people that could come in and build a strong new Iran are, in most cases, probably outside the country now. And so you have these student groups, you have others who are protesting. And speaking of a terrorist regime, they killed tens of thousands of their own people. That comment was spot on, but it's going to be difficult to find in country those people who are ready to stand up a new Iran. That's why it's so important to try to bring some of those people in the current government, as bad as they may be, or as much as they may have been involved in bad actions at the behest of the regime. You've got to bring in some of the existing infrastructure. This is a mistake we made in Iraq, and after that war of saying anybody that was involved in Saddam Hussein has to leave, and it caused the whole government to collapse, and then you need boots on
the region, but also to the world. We are doing everything possible to meet the objective of this operation, and this operation is working and happening hand in hand, together, shoulder to shoulder with our American friends, and we are grateful to the American President Donald Trump for his leadership and being here in this moment, working together to achieve these goals.
Well, can you please relate to the girls' school bombing, please?
So I'm not familiar with the details. I understand that this is under check, but I will tell you this, that the Iranian regime has been known to fabricate, to produce fake information for propaganda purposes. So you need to keep this in mind.
Well, we can see the scene.
Okay,
We can see
please,
the Georgians' bodies.
Please. Another question, please. Okay. Yes, please.
I'll try. Do you think this is going to resolve the issue? Is the roaring lion, we got the rising lion, the roaring lion, is this going to do it?
The idea, the objective, is to remove this existential threat. And yes, I'm certain that at the end of this operation, this threat will be removed. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
We were just hearing from the spokesperson for the Israeli Foreign Ministry right here as you're taking a live look of both the White House and Mar-a-Lago. President Trump setting to return to Washington, D.C. tonight. And any remarks from the president, we will bring them to you right here on Live Now from Fox. We're going to step away for just a moment, but we are continuing to follow a breaking news development as Iran's foreign minister says that a new supreme leader will be chosen in 1 or 2 days. Coming up after the break, we're going to be speaking with foreign policy expert Michael Santos to talk about that change and what that might mean for Iran, but also the larger region. We'll be right back.